point.
So with that said, Chris, let's get into what does running a Performance Max campaign look like next to a search campaign?
Yeah. So this is what we had talked about when we said, Performance Max is a good complement to a keyword-based search campaign. So the question is, how does it affect it? And we've got interesting notes here that we're going to read you. So you provide certain inputs like audience signals and things like that. So that's what you put in. Now, what Google does is it chooses keywords that represent what you've put in. It looks at that data and chooses keywords. So the question is, how?
Hold on. What you're saying, which I think a lot of people aren't understanding, because we're talking about we're talking about display, we're talking about YouTube, Gmail ads, map ads. Performance Max ads can also show as search ads on traditional Google.com searches.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, so you can set up a Performance Max campaign and literally a text ad at the top of Google could show up. You
just
did
like
not
a normal
choose
search
a keyword.
campaign.
Yeah, just like it would look no different. It would not have a video in it.
That is deep. If you chose not to add, and we'll get the exact term here, if you choose not to add a custom audience segment, you could set up a Performance Max with just how they interacted with your business and just an additional audience segment, like in the market for whatever. And then all of a sudden you're running search ads as part of your Performance Max, where people are typing in keywords and maybe you didn't even put that in your Performance Max. That's deep.
Yeah. So you would choose to.
Oh, Chris, hold on. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. And I'll stop and I'll let you go. I'm sorry, but this is very deep. There are some industries that it's very difficult and stressful, and it's taken years off of my life to come up with search keywords for their industry, because people aren't exactly searching for it, or they're searching for the only keywords you can come up with are low volume. And then all the sudden you get hit with low volume status and you're not able to run search ads, and you don't want to throw in a bunch of broad keywords. And now you can go from the other direction and come in the back door, if you will, and say, no, I'm going to show you what my business is about, and Google, you choose. Don't let me put in a bunch of stupid broad keywords or let broad keywords get in the way of this relationship. Let me just tell you what my business is, and you can put me on the right kind of keywords. That's powerful for certain types of businesses out there, Chris.
Definitely.
That aren't searched for. But I know when people are searching for straight up Google ad studs that still got it in their 40s, those kind of keywords, we know they're searching for that. And of course you're there. So I'll step back now.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So Performance Max search campaign, they're running together. The Performance Max, as Jason eloquently said, can run text ads on Google.com.
Wow.
So you also have a search campaign that has specific keywords and text ads that you've written very carefully, maybe exact match. So the question is, how do those two interact? And here's what it says. If the user's query, so I don't like query. I'm going to say if the user's search is identical to an eligible search keyword of any match type in your account, the search campaign will be prioritized over Performance Max. So there it is right there. So if the person's, now this is important what they say. That's why I'm going through the word by word here. If the user's query is identical, so that means if you have plumber near me as a keyword and they put plumber near
No, Chris, they put plumbers near me.
Right.
That's how I'm reading it.
Plumbers. Yeah, okay, good point. Good. Let's be even more specific. Plumbers near me, and you have plumber near me.
We could be wrong about that. It depends on how they define identical.
It says right there. I mean, identical is identical. Yeah. I'm gonna interpret it like the
I'm gonna interpret it that way as well.
Yeah.
Identical.
So that means that the priority would then go to Performance Max because you had plumber near me and they searched plumbers near me. So the priority would go to Performance Max because it is not the same identical. Identical is important because when they say identical, that means that the words have to be the same, not any of this close variant stuff. If you're used to search campaigns, you know that there's close variants. There can be phrase match, but if they say if your search is hire a plumber, and if your keyword is hire a plumber, and they typed hire a plumber near me, then that's not identical. So your search campaign would lose its prioritization of that search.
But if they did search what was the term? Say the term was plumber near me. If that was the
Oh.
keyword, if that's the keyword you have, if they did search plumber near me, that identical keyword that you have, then the search campaign will be the one that goes to auction as opposed to the
Yeah.
Performance Max. It's also interesting that they say of any match type.
Any
So-
match type.
So
Right.
if you're running even if you're running a broad keyword, as long as the search is identical,
Technical. Yeah.
your search campaign is the one that will represent and go to auction, will represent your account, and show
And-
up on search.
So let's talk about when it's not identical, when you do not have those exact keywords. So you might say, oh my gosh, I need to have about 3,000 keywords in my account because I could be losing all these to my Performance Max. Hold on, there's good news. Google, and I think this is really important because this would keep people from freaking out and saying, you might read in blogs, oh, if you're running Performance Max, you need to have all the iterations of your key.
Cannibalization.
Yeah, you're gonna have so that's not the case. If you have a Performance Max in a search campaign and someone does something and it's not identical to your search campaign, it's still going to give focus. It's going to give. I'll just read it. If the query is not identical to an eligible search keyword, the campaign or ad with the highest ad rank will be selected.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with ad rank, that essentially is just a complicated formula for who has the highest bid. We'll just leave it at that. Whoever has the highest bid,
Bid times quality score.
yeah,
Bid
that's
times
good.
relevancy.
That's going to be your determining factor. So your Performance Max, if it has a better relevancy score, ad rank, then it may show over your search campaign. So if you're concerned about that, if you're concerned about Performance Max outperforming or getting more of the search volume, up the bids
Bid more.
in your search campaign.
Higher conversion targets that you're willing to pay more for, or higher manual bids. That's essentially, or
Yep.
take the lid off of your max clicks
Yeah.
bid cap, or raise the lid. You have to raise your bids if you're worried about that. Yeah,
That's it.
good point.
So that's simple enough. I'm glad that they laid that out because that is, I think that's important, and that would have been cannibalization would have been the number one thing on everybody's lips. Just
I think
cannibalization,
people
blah, blah,
could
blah.
argue it should be the other way around, or this way around, or that way around. I really don't care. I'm more concerned, and like you, that they laid it out for us, so
Laid
there's
it
no
out. Just lay it
mystery. We
out.
don't have to wonder about it, and then that could lead to a lot of bad decisions.